Let me describe a situation you've probably already seen: a well-run CRM migration. It's 4 to 6 months of planning, dozens of workshops, ultra-detailed specs, a powerful, fully automated machine. On paper, it's perfect, but then comes go live. Training sessions, 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours per team, screens full of fields, processes that are theoretically flawless, and in the room, you can only see people on their phones, empty stares, polite nods, not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, but because in their head, the same thought appears: okay, I will deal with this when I actually need it. Right now, there's too much and I'm lost. And that's usually the moment the migration is already failing. There is something massively underestimated in CRM migrations. Teams don't just use tools, they are used to a structure, a vocabulary, visual landmarks, mental shortcuts. They know where things are, they know what words mean, they know what matters, and then overnight, everything changes. It's the same job, the same objectives, but it's full of new labels, new screens, new logic, new priorities, and cognitively, that's brutal. So a CRM migration is not just a tool change, it's a change of environment. And when you redesign everything at once, processes, vocabulary, screens, logic, you don't just ask people to learn a new tool, you ask them to relearn how they work, and that's where resistance starts. Few days later, when the same questions come back. Why can't we do this? Why is this missing? Why is it so complicated? And the most frustrating part is that everything exists, the feature exists, the data exists, the process exists, but nobody knows where, nobody remembers, nobody adopted it. A CRM can be perfectly built and still completely rejected. So the real truth is that the CRM migration don't fail because of tools, they fail because they are overwhelmed the people who are supposed to use them, and that breaks the adoption. So now let's talk about why the migration failed, the real reasons. The machine before the usage. The foundational mistake is trying to do everything at once, cost every edge case, automate everything, design the perfect system from day one. The result is too many objects, too many fields, too many rules, too many exceptions. From the user perspective, there is no anchor, because when everything is possible, nothing is really obvious, and when nothing is obvious, nothing gets adopted. The problem is rarely bad data, but it's too much data. So in reality, fields are never filled or filled randomly, useful information gets buried, screens become unreadable, the data exists, but nobody really looks at it. And worse, too much data destroys trust faster than missing data. When users don't know what matters, they stop trusting the system. Every user has the same silent question: what does this give me today? And if the answer is more field, more constraints, more rules, adoption is already dead. People don't adopt systems, they adopt benefits. And if the value isn't immediate and visible, they disengage. If you're watching this and thinking, oh, that actually makes sense, but I would like a clear way to apply this to my company, that's exactly why I created the ultimate guide of choosing the perfect CRM for your business. It's not theory, it's not a comparison tool, it's a free practical guide that will help you understand what your business needs from a CRM, identify which type of CRM fits perfectly your situation, and reduce the risk of failure during migration or implementation. It's really designed to turn reflection into decision, so if you want to access it for free, you can find it in the description below. Alright, let's continue. You should start smaller than you think you should. Not simplistic, not under-designed, just fewer fields, fewer screens, fewer rules, but everything must be immediately understandable, logically placed, consistent with how people already work. Yes, there will be training, but the goal of training is not to explain the system, is to confirm what people already understand. When users open the CRM, the reaction should be, okay, this makes sense, and not, wait, where did everything go? Every piece of data must answer one question: what decision does this support? And if the answer isn't obvious, the data doesn't belong there. The result will be readable screens, visible information, data people actually use, and a smaller data set that people trust beats a massive data set nobody looks at every time. because 4 hours of training doesn't create adoption, design does. Clear views, clean pipelines, obvious actions, visual hierarchy. And here's the important part. Good UX is not about being pretty. It's about familiar structures, recognizable vocabulary, and visual continuity. If yesterday this was called a qualified deal, it shouldn't suddenly become a revenue-ready opportunity just because the CRM uses that term. Familiarity will reduce cognitive load faster than any training. Good designs reassures user, it doesn't impress them. Listen to the difference. In one hand, we have, it's complicated, why can't we do this? And on the other hand, we have, this is really clear, it would be great if we could also do that. In the second case, the user is engaged, they understand the system, they project their usage, and now when you add something, it's fast, desired, adopt immediately, because evolution only works after adoption. Sometimes the change is mandatory, and yes, that's true. Sometimes the CRM migration is not optional because you need compliance, regulation, security, audit requirements. And in those cases, the question is not should we change? It's how do we survive the change? It's a key nuance because if a company operated until now without full compliance, it means only one thing, it was technically possible to operate without it. Which means you have room to phase the change, you don't need to traumatize everyone at once. Trying to make everything compliant, perfect, enforced from day one is when adoption collapses. The approach I recommend is one trauma at a time, because yes, compliance matters, but adoption decides whether compliance actually works. So introduce non-negotiables first, delay what can be phased, reduce friction wherever possible. Basically, if a constraint doesn't change behavior today, don't force it today. Compliance without adoption is just documentation. So I would like to conclude this video by saying that CRM migrations fail when complexity comes first, completeness is valued over clarity, and habits are erased overnight, change is imposed instead of guided. But they succeed when users recognize their way of working, change is phased intelligently, constraints are introduced gradually, and the system evolves through feedback. It's always easier to reach full compliance with a system people already use than to impose a perfect system that nobody trusts.
As I mentioned earlier in this video, if you want to go one step further and actually apply this to your company, I put together the ultimate guide of choosing the perfect CRM for your business. It's a free, practical guide, not theory, with clear questions and exercises to help you understand what you really need from a CRM, identify which type of CRM fits your situation, and reduce the risk of fail for migration and implementation. So if you're in the middle of a CRM decision or you know one is coming, I'm pretty sure you will find it useful, so don't hesitate to access it for free in the description below. It was Greg, I wish you a great day and see you next week.